This presentation is a comparison between Chilliwack's Garrison Crossing and downtown. It covers and compares such topics as the history and the future plans of each area, how the communities incorporate placemaking and the use of public space, the diversity of each area, how pedestrian-friendly, child-friendly, and safe the communities are, as well as homelessness and poverty. Garrison Crossing and downtown are on opposite sides of the freeway. Garrison is on the south side and is known as the Sarda side. Garrison is geared more towards the middle class and is considered the suburbs, or suburbia, as it is a small community outside the city centre. The suburbs have been the chosen place of residence for the middle class. The main role of the suburbs has been one of social segregation, an escape from crime, congestion, and the unwanted others. Downtown is on the north side of the freeway. It is where Chilliwack's history began and houses Chilliwack's government sites such as the hospital, the courthouse, and the museum. This area carries a bad reputation for crime and violence, but it offers more established and diverse neighborhoods with mixed housing opportunities and commercial spaces. Garrison Crossing's redevelopment plan has a vision to create a thriving neighborhood with set goals and key ideas, such as adaptive reuse, which is to refurbish many older houses and buildings. Environmental sensitivity, such as creating green spaces and leaving many old-growth trees. Legacy, which means to honor the Army base. Diversity, in a sense of building a variety of living spaces for different needs. Connection, which is to create places for people to meet and connect with their community. And innovation, in new building ideas and plans. Garrison Crossing's planners have a goal to create a sense of place and a connected community. The goal is to have residents build connections with the area using the local facilities and amenities accessible for all within the neighborhood, whether by foot, wheelchair, or bike. Safe Places for Pedestrians discusses the importance of footpaths within a community and has studied the benefits of having a community accessible to pedestrians. It was proven to be greatly beneficial for both their physical well-being as well as their psychological well-being, while increasing connections based on face-to-face interactions. Garrison Crossing received certification in recognition for the development's sustainable plan that incorporates principles of smart growth, urbanism, and green design by creating a walkable community with reduced urban sprawl, decreased automobile dependence, and mixed-use neighborhoods, benefiting both the environment and the public health. Garrison's mixture of retail space and many parks creates a self-contained community. It helps locals build connections with their community. Living within the city while having available outdoor space offers a release from the stresses of everyday life. It is said that parks, waterways, common land, woodland make up an important in-between space within the city. These sorts of public spaces are an integral feature in creating placemaking. When creating a placemaking community, proximity, diversity, and accessibility are the essentials in creating a successful neighborhood. Garrison contains these essentials, but lacks some sense of diversity. Within Garrison Crossing's retail village, proximity and accessibility are offered to residents with access to a wide range of shops and services, all within walking distance of their front doors. You can stroll down Market Way and meet your friends, do your shopping, or enjoy a variety of restaurants, but this targets the middle class. In order to promote diversity, the planners in Garrison Crossing are providing a wide range of types and styles of homes, including apartments, row homes, townhomes, duplexes, and detached homes. This is to provide varying lifestyles for all age groups and ethnicities. The retail village also provides a wide range of local services and associated amenities. Although the strive for diversity does not hold true for all incomes, this development only accommodates the middle class, It does not include a diverse atmosphere in all income levels, as it excludes the low-income families. For example, a 2,100 square foot detached home in Garrison is around $600,000, whereas a very similar house in Chilliwack's downtown is half that price. The lack of poverty and homelessness in Garrison is no coincidence. It is the result of gentrification. This area was once low-income housing. Row homes, duplexes, and houses were part of this low-income development. It was successful since it had bus routes, a grocery store, schools, and a few other necessities all within walking distance. Then the plan for Garrison Crossing came, causing displacement of low-income residents by those of higher social status, as older houses have been done up and multi-occupancy dwellings converted into single-occupancy middle-class homes. The tenants of these low-income houses were forced to leave, so developers could revamp the area into lavish, pricey homes with expensive retail. Low-income families were left without homes and were forced out of the area, many of which moved to downtown Chilliwack, where affordable homes and cheaper retail were available.
Downtown Chilliwack is where it all began. When the European settlers arrived, they would have made contact with Chilliwack's first people, the Stolo Nation, who in the late 18th century had a population estimated between 40 and 60,000. The word Chilliwack is a Halkomelem word which means quieter water at the head, or going back up the river, and that is just what many people did. During the gold rush in the 1850s, steamboats took many visitors up the river. Described as the gateway to the Cariboo, riverboat landings in Chilliwack had miners traveling through Chilliwack to strike it rich up north. Eventually, small farms were established near these ports of travel, and in 1873, Chilliwack was established as a township, making Chilliwack the third oldest township in BC. As the road traffic increased, the major intersection downtown was named Five Corners, which is still considered the heart of downtown today. The Five Corners Junction shown in Figure 1 was where New Westminster Yale Wagon Road, Wellington Avenue, and Yonge Road met. You can see in Figure 2 how popular the area was for pedestrians as well as for cars. Development of Chilliwack really took off once the British Columbia Railway was established in 1910, connecting Chilliwack with Vancouver. As development continued, downtown Chilliwack still remained the center of it all. Although Chilliwack is the third oldest municipality in BC, a Community Heritage Commission was not appointed by the Council until 1990. Despite this, recently the downtown area has experienced the demolition of several heritage sites, including the Empress Hotel, constructed in 1908, demolished in 2010, the Irwin Block, constructed 1909 to 1913, demolished in 2014, also the Paramount Hotel, constructed in 1949 and demolished in 2013. The Heritage Canada described the Paramount Theatre as an important historic landmark and a key community gathering place. They even included the Paramount in a top 10 endangered buildings list for 2015. But sadly, the cost of extensive repairs were too great, and after its 60 years servicing the community of Chilliwack, and despite public outcry, an example of NIMBYism, the Paramount was demolished. The Paramount Theatre did not go down without a fight from many residents, including the young and the old, the arts community, local business owners, and the support from the media. The Rally of Support is an example of community-based activism. A shared interest to save the Paramount created a common purpose and a common identity. To the disappointment of many, the public outcry was not enough, though, to save the theater. Placemaking is so much more than city planning, and it's not a new concept either. The Project for Public Spaces defines placemaking as both an overarching idea and a hands-on approach for improving a neighborhood, city, or region. Placemaking inspires people to collectively reimagine and reinvent public spaces as the heart of every community. The 4 elements of great places outlined by the Project for Public Spaces are simplified as sociability, access, comfort, and uses. The place diagram shown as Figure 1 is a tool PPS has developed to evaluate what makes a place great in terms of placemaking. There are 3 rings. The inside ring identifies a place's key attribute, the middle ring represents its intangible qualities, and the outside ring represents its measurable data. For example, I could look at the access key attribute to discover how walkable a place was using data on pedestrian activity. Let's look at the elements of great places. First, we have access. Access is just as it sounds. A great place must be accessible physically as well as visually. How a space connects to its surroundings and its patrons is important. An accessible space is a safe place to get to by all modes of transportation, inviting for many ages and abilities. visually appealing and interesting. The second element of a great place is sociability. This is a difficult quality to measure in a city, how comfortable a person feels introducing themselves to their new neighbors or making eye contact with a stranger passing them by the street are examples of how sociable one feels by way of living in their community. A sociable community will foster a strong sense of place as well as attachment. A good example of this would be the television series The Gilmore Girls. I would predict many faithful viewers were in love with the fictitious town of Stars Hollow just as much as they were with the cast. How the characters interacted within the small town is what made them so lovable. Amy Sherman Palladino, the California born and raised writer and producer of The Gilmore Girls, wrote the show's pilot after a personal trip to a small town in Connecticut. She was infatuated with the way the people in the town called each other by name and how they interacted with each other. They had gone to a diner and everyone knew each other, and one patron got up and walked behind the counter and they got their own coffee because the waitress was busy. She was so inspired she stayed up taking notes and ended up writing the pilot, all based on what the project for public spaces would identify as the sociability of the town. The third element of a great place is comfort and image. First impressions are not just important for people, but for places as well. We are just as quick to presume things about a person as we are a place. The image of a place includes whether it is safe and comfortable. The number of places to sit determines how inviting a space may feel, as well as how clean and kept up a space is. The last element is uses and activities. The more activities and uses for a space increases the usage. Having many activities for people to participate in keeps people coming back and continuing to use a space. Activities for people of all ages with a range of interests that are meant to be enjoyed as either a group or a single person is successfully achieving one of the four elements of placemaking. In the Downtown Chilliwack 2040 Official Community Plan, it outlines 5 wide-ranging goals. One of the goals was to build healthy communities. The plan included a focus on physical and mental health, social well-being, and community involvement. Listed as contributors to building a healthy community, the plan also recognized the built environment as an important factor, just as the project for public places did. The plan recognized that fostering social interactions and ensuring inclusion to all its members is an important part of successfully meeting this goal. In the community plan, parks and green spaces are identified as important features, increasing the livability of a city and not just its aesthetic charm. They are recognized as social gathering places, especially for densely populated areas such as downtown Chilliwack. Downtown Chilliwack is already the chosen location for events that are designed to bring the community together, such as Party in the Park, the car show, the air show, and the Saturday market. Also identified was the community's growing support of public art, recognizing its importance in urban landscape. Downtown Chilliwack is already on its way to becoming a healthy community, with its focus on sociability, an important element in placemaking. Urban leisure is an important way of understanding and developing the relationship between placemaking and urban revitalization. An example of this is a community garden. The community within a community garden can generate social capital, specifically in terms of bonding, bridging, and linking. Although community gardens are not a new concept, they have acquired a renewed interest across many neighborhoods, stemming from an increased desire to become more connected to food, the natural environment, and community. Community gardens are an example of third space, providing a place where people can meet, network, and relate to each other and increasing bonds between neighbors. It achieves this by strengthening and building ties, while emphasizing an inclusive environment and linking of key community partners. Downtown Chilliwack is home to the city's third community garden, established in 2013, in a lot that the historical Paramount Theater previously stood. Within this modest endeavor lies an opportunity for social capital amongst the residents of downtown Chilliwack.
In 2010, the Downtown Task Force created a comprehensive plan for the future of downtown to be implemented over the course of 30 years. The plan covers various topics, including community vision and goals, land use, mobility, public parks, open space, and population and housing. This pie chart from the plan outlines how the 586 acres of downtown space will be used. As we can see here, 45% of the space will be used for residential purposes, 10% for commercial use, and the remaining 45% for various other purposes. The plan outlines key places in the neighborhood that are to be revamped and used as focal points of downtown. This includes Five Corners, Salish Park, and Central Community Park. The Evans Road Connector was built in Chilliwack in 2010.
This was an effort to create an alternate north-south route across Chilliwack to minimize traffic flow on the Yale and Yonge routes. Not only has the entire Eagle Landing Parkway Centre emerged from this expansion, bringing growth to the city, but since the connector was built, traffic flow to the Hodgins area by the Landing Leisure Centre and the hospital has increased greatly, and this has been great for retail businesses downtown and has aided in the beginning processes of downtown growth. The task force plans to create a variety of housing styles to make downtown Chilliwack an economically diverse neighborhood. Low to medium density housing areas will include single-family detached housing, duplexes, coach houses, and townhouses to cater to the financial and spatial needs of different class families. Medium to high density housing will also increase, with apartment buildings ranging from 4 stories to high-rise towers. There is also a plan to create more commercial mixed-use buildings to integrate office, retail, and residential uses in order to promote diversity in the downtown area. In Carl Grodach's journal, The Cultural Economy Planning and Creative Cities, he identifies 4 approaches to cultural economic development. The first approach is the conventional model. This approach explores the traditional focus of creating a good business environment to attract firms. The second is the creative city model, which involves implementing plans to attract the educated and creative class to add to the quality of place by having a community made up of skilled people, many of whom may be in the arts. Cultural industries model is the third. It focuses on enhancing the cultural and industrial milieu. The last model is the cultural occupations model. This model focuses specifically on the needs of artists. It is no secret that Chilliwack is not a culturally diverse city. Over 90% of the city is of Caucasian descent, and while it is common for there to be less cultural diversity as locations are farther away from the major cities, it would appear that immigration comes to an abrupt halt somewhere between Abbotsford and Chilliwack. Cultural diversity is essential to city development. In Chilliwack in particular, these methods of achieving cultural economic development would be incredibly useful in order to attract people of different cultures to our city. Homelessness in downtown Chilliwack is significantly higher than any other neighborhood in the city. This could be attributed to a multitude of factors. One major factor is drug access. Five Corners is known for being the easiest access to drugs and prostitution in the city. Because Five Corners is downtown, this means that the homeless are much more likely to stay in this area. Most of Chilliwack's homeless shelters and aid programs are downtown as well, including the Salvation Army, Ruth and Naomi's Kitchen, and others. Another factor that contributes to the rising homeless population in downtown Chilliwack is the placement of the courthouse. Chilliwack Law Courts was built downtown Chilliwack in 2002. It is currently the only Supreme Court in the Fraser Valley. This means that people from all over the valley must come to downtown Chilliwack for all criminal hearings. When these people are free to go, they often do not have the resources to leave the city and end up staying downtown, making a home on the streets.
Public space is important when creating a community. Public areas for children, teenagers, adults, and seniors are necessary for community members to feel connected. Parks, sports fields, entertainment, and clubhouses are all part of public spaces. Garrison Crossing and downtown Chilliwack each contain different activities and facilities, but both use public space effectively and efficiently. Garrison Crossing is a newly developed community within Chilliwack and has used public space effectively. The hub of Garrison Crossing would be the Sheam Leisure Centre. This facility contains a pool, gymnasium, fitness center, and squash courts, not to mention a wide range of programs for any age group. Some examples include aquafit, children's camps, and many sports teams. Garrison Crossing also contains many nicely paved pathways for community members to walk their dogs, go for a run, or even ride their bike. Along these paths are multiple benches and beautiful gardens that are nicely taken care of. Garrison Crossing is also filled with small and large businesses. These shops are easily accessible and contain a relaxed atmosphere. Garrison Crossing is also very close to many other facilities. When creating a community, it is important to be close to easily accessible things. Garrison is very close to multiple public schools, which include elementary, middle, and high school, and is perfect for families. Garrison is also very close to the UFV Chilliwack campus, which is good for students, and the Vedder River is also right down the street from Garrison and is a perfect place to cool down or go for a nice long walk. When starting a family or even moving a family to a new area, it is very important to know if the area is child-friendly. Garrison Crossing is a child-friendly area. The programs provided at the Sheehan Leisure Centre, a playground nearby, and the friendly atmosphere are all examples to why Garrison Crossing is child-friendly. Not to mention, the location is ideal for children to walk to school. Downtown Chilliwack is a much older area compared to Garrison Crossing, but still contains many public spaces. One of the biggest public spaces located downtown would be Townsend Park. This park contains numerous baseball diamonds and soccer fields, as well as a gravel path that circles the whole area. Downtown Chilliwack also holds a special event called Party in the Park. This is a free activity for community members and is located right down the street from Five Corners. Downtown Chilliwack is also home to a public skate park located just outside of the Chilliwack Leisure Centre. This is a perfect place for teenagers to hang out. Downtown Chilliwack also has a public library, a Chilliwack Museum, and a hall that is perfect for group meetings. Although some of these cost money, the space is there to benefit the community and is still considered a public space. Unfortunately, downtown Chilliwack is not as child-friendly as Garrison Crossing. Garrison Crossing has attracted families, whereas downtown Chilliwack has a higher homeless rate and contains more community members that are of the lower class. This is not to disregard the fact that downtown Chilliwack does have good community usage of space, but unfortunately it is not as safe for children to be outside playing alone.
Whether in downtown or in Garrison Crossing, Chilliwack has something to offer to everyone. Both of these neighborhoods have played major roles in the rapid growth of Chilliwack over the past decade or so. Chilliwack is the second fastest growing city in British Columbia after Squamish, surpassing Vancouver, Victoria, and Kelowna. The city of Chilliwack is now home to 85,000 people, or over 100,000 if counting the Rosedale and Cultus Lake areas. Chilliwack is a continually evolving city, and the efforts of the city to revitalize areas like downtown and Garrison Crossing have had a very positive impact on the city. Whether a young family starting out, middle-aged, or retired, Chilliwack is an excellent place to call home.